So,
Yes,
I have so many questions,
I'm sure you do.
but we can't answer them because there might be more we don't know.
I know.
Damn it.
Many questions. Yeah.
For a second, I thought that I might be onto something with the theory that all of the heralds have a ring, and that Athreos' ring got stolen by Gira Grail, and then Skith ended up in ownership of it, but I wasn't right.
Well,
I can probably answer that one because that's not a huge
Ooh.
one.
Go on.
Well, I think the question is because it's a Skith background. Does Skith want me to answer that?
I don't know it, so.
So, Skith went into the traveling tower instead of the
Hellspire.
Hellspire as the first tower with the ring on. Solitaire was like, that's against the rules, break.
Yeah. I mean, Solitaire seems like the type to be like, what? Something that forces a result to be a certain way? That's like everything I hate.
I mean, also, it is against the rules of the towers, so by, like, the rules of the towers, you have to... That's part of being the herald. If you don't do that, then you're basically breaking being a herald, which I guess a lot of heralds are kind of doing anyway, but, like, that would be a really big breach. So, yeah, and that's Solitaire also be like, no, you're breaking the randomness, so hell no. So, yeah. So Solitaire was wearing an illusory one and deliberately cluing you in.
Oh, okay, it was to screw with Perrin. I was wondering.
No, it wasn't screw. It was to deliberately clue you in, but they weren't ever going to give you... Solitaire never gives someone a straight clue, but they'll try and give you a breadcrumb.
That just made me think that all of the heralds had one.
Yeah, you try and take one clue and make it into a picture, and I'm like, all right, I've maybe trained you too well.
And I was like... And I looked up which heralds are for what, and I'm like, well, the herald for wizards is Athreos. I'm taking Athreos as my patron, so sure, let's ask him. Might as well. If it's his ring, then great, we worked it out. But yeah, I mean, that means the Hellspire is unmanned. Presumably.
Is it? He wants us to go in there so bad. He's like, here, go in for free. You'll have access to the Hellspire. Go in. It's free. Like, come on. Here, take this amulet. It's a normal amulet.
Because your entire crew has been, like, really mainlining going into towers. Like, you've done 12 in, like,
that you dangle in
just
front
over a
of
year.
To like, make us do something. It was very interesting that he specifically mentioned going into every tower once. That was interesting. What does he know about that?
Could have asked him. You'll never know.
It's an achievement unlock, duh.
Yeah, that's how you get an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you muted me.
You get an extra bonus level if you go through every tower. No, I'm just kidding.
We know there's extra floors in the tower.
So that's how you unlock the 13th tower.
Oh, that's how you do it. Exactly. I like that.
But we know that there's seemingly more floors beyond 20 before you get to the crystal room. There's like space in there that seems to be, beyond.
Yeah, we saw that the stairs go even further up. Yeah.
I think the crystal room's at the top of the stairs, but it's more than 20 stories up from the bottom to get there, which means that there's something else somewhere, presumably directly below the crystal room. Also, goddammit, Perrin never got to go in a crystal room after learning to read Abyssal and also walk on walls so he can read the abyssal ceilings of the crystal rooms.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
You'd be really disappointed.
Okay.
Was it the exact same
thing?
thing?
It's not abyssal.
Oh.
It's infernal.
Damn it.
Oh.
It always gets me, infernal and abyssal.
They use the same script.
Oh, because it would have just been like, I recognize the letters, no idea of the order.
I told you a long time ago, you were like, what is it? I'm like, oh, it looks like a script. And you were like, oh, what is it? I'm like, okay, well, it rolled me a thing and you rolled it. And I was like, oh, you do know the script. You can't read it, but it is the script that Infernal and Abyssal use. And you were like, oh, Abyssal. And ever since then, I've been going every time you said, I did know
it might be Infernal. There is a possibility, but I was just hoping it was Abyssal so that,
It's not giant elk? What?
Secretly, the towers are designed by the giantest of elk.
Which,
And I also-
yeah, we found out that it's only spoken and not written anyway. The giant elk.
Yeah.
But I also,
Yeah.
at one point, like, for a
Do giant
considerable
elk
period,
write?
for a considerable period, I also had 1 comprehend languages per day, which also didn't coincide with me being in a position to try and read the
Nope.
ceiling in a crystal room.
Yeah.
Also,
So
you
this-
just unlocked your piety abilities you'll never get to use.
Yep. I was
Oh,
a little bit
yeah.
worried when you sent it to me because it's all combat, and I'm like, are we really gonna? Is this gonna happen?
No. No, it's just so you can have it on your sheet.
What about my piety stuff? Does it go up any higher or no?
It won't just yet because you've got, what, 2 levels of it?
I think so, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so the 3rd level is coming shortly. You're probably the closest to it, but it's so good at level 3, no, you don't get it now.
you were like
It's
power
really
wise,
good.
yeah.
Like you get something like 10 times your int bonus in temporary HP once per day. So you get like 40 to 50 temporary HP or something crazy. It's really good. And I think you might even get a bonus while you've got that temporary HP or something.
That's pretty hype.
And then the one after that is you get +2 con or +2 int, I think.
That makes sense because it's very much life
Raven Queen and
oriented.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Bentham's next one would be, as a bonus action, for 1 minute, creatures in 30 feet of you can't get advantage on attack rolls against you. Which is decent. And then after that, you either get strength or charisma +2. Mistra.
Nice. My 2 stats.
Oh yeah, will you post the piety stuff so people can have that as like
It's based on
GMT or
stuff other
something?
people have done on the internet, and I'm just kind of slightly altering things here and there, so it's not entirely like enough of mine that I'd be like, it's mine to
gotcha.
share.
Okay.
It's stuff that I've like changed or adapted, but
I just know people like using stuff.
oh, here we go. The next one for Skith would be, you cannot be surprised provided you aren't incapacitated.
That's really nice, considering I'm squishy.
I might have changed that because this is for Ioun, and Ioun has Fate as well as a purview, and Mistra doesn't. So I might have changed that. And then the one after that is Int or Wisdom +2.
Wisdom.
No, it increases your cap as well. So you could have got like... Yeah.
Int. Oh, yeah, I'm inting.
I never did
That
get my
would've
20
been-
charisma.
It'd have got you to 22 if you'd have also got your
Oh
20.
yeah. No, there was a lot of
from the
potential
SI.
there.
Yeah. Which, because you're so single attribute dependent, would have been nuts.
Oh yeah. I mean, everyone
Yeah,
would
I
have got a
should've forceful
+6 to all of
persuaded.
their saving throws in my presence.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. The Raven Queen one is actually, you can cast False Life, requiring no material components. When you do, you gain an additional 25 hit points on top of the False Life. And you can do that once per day.
Oh, okay.
And then
That's like another person.
you get +2 to either Constitution or Charisma. All right, yeah.
That would have put you over 100 HP easy if with my speech.
Yeah.
Like a goddamn
Yeah,
building
I'm currently
walking
at
Level
around.
3 and
69.
level 4 pieties are really potent. You were coming close to those level 3s, Arena being the closest. Like, the whole thing today with the Grandma was a little earlier than planned, but not hugely. But I was like, because it's the final, we'll bring that a little bit earlier. But like,
Yeah, it was
Arena was
like-
much closer to the piety.
We're discussing kind of like where we saw the ends for our characters for this chapter, and I'm like, I don't know if there really could be an end necessarily for Arena here because her end is helping Gatton get back, right? Which is like a whole other crazy. That's like how our arc started, right?
Well, your end, I guess, was also like your first arc was the first arc of the entire show was Arena. Heron's
true.
was the second one, although he had some hanging stuff. So,
Yeah, her stuff
Ooh.
is just she's on a religious quest at this point.
speaking of which, What do you think going on with Perrin's armor?
So
This weird sepulture armor.
Mm-hmm.
So he can take it off, but he can't unattune right now. And I mean, ultimately, it's just about using. It's about like burning through body parts of slain enemies to gain an edge against similar enemies. So I'm like, what is it getting from Perrin to make that happen? I guess.
You forget you've actually encountered some of the issues with the armor before.
When?
So when Arena was bleeding out from drowning, she normally rolls death saves at advantage. She rolled them flat.
Oh. Am I giving people near me disadvantage on death saves?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. Oh, that's terrible. I hate that.
Oh no.
Wait, is it doing it to me though? I've been rolling death saves
Nope.
and it's just people around me? Oh,
It's-
that's horrible.
Guess who wore the armor last? What were they called? What was their moniker?
The survivor.
Oh god.
They're surviving.
So, I've
They're the only
updated
one.
the armor.
So it's everything nearby has disadvantage on death saves. So if you kill it,
But
You know
it
what?
that's kind of
stays dead.
You know what
thing,
she
though, if
said,
you
or
want
what was said
necro-
about her? Like, she watched all her friends wither to dust and everyone else around her that she knew withered to dust, but she survived.
The armor's what made her survive? Or the armor's what made them all die?
Yes.
it's perfect for somebody who wants to, like, you know, bring people back from the dead and have them
It's
as
not necessarily a
mindless
bad
minions.
curse, though. There are bonuses to it. So if you look at it now, I've now attached the curse.
Okay,
Ooh.
let's see. There's a lot to it. Hang on.
So you get some temporary HP from you. That's too funny.
You gain HP when we fail.
Yep. You get temporary HP when they fail death saves.
Oh, it's allies
and-
specifically. Okay, it's not allies and enemies. Ugh.
Oh yeah, it has to be allies.
It wouldn't be a
Oh,
curse
when-
if it's enemies.
Yeah,
When
you also
start
take
dying.
you take their death save marks that are successes and add them to yours.
Oh,
No wonder you were like, here's a coffin, here's a tree, here's Arena's revive, just in case shit starts in. Just in case someone gets instantly killed by this unknown curse. It's like, don't worry, you got a coffin. You're
So
good.
yeah, for the MP3, no, this won't be on the MP3. I guess for the people who are more listening to the YouTube, allies within 30 feet of you roll death saves at disadvantage. Pretty normal. Whenever an ally within 30 feet marks a failed death saving throw, you gain 5 temporary HP. If you make a death saving throw and there's an ally within 30 feet of you who has a death saving throw success marked, before rolling, they reduce their successes by 1 and you mark 1 success. So basically, you steal their successes. When you roll a 1 on a death saving throw, before marking failures, because I think you said this at one point, Bentham, you were like, oh crap, I could die if I roll a 1 here, and I'm here going, no you won't.
oh,
When you roll a 1 on a death saving throw before marking failures, the nearest independent ally within 30 feet makes a DC 15 Constitution save. They take 6d10 psychic damage on a failed save, or none on a success, and you instantly regain health equal to any damage inflicted. A creature brought to 0 HP in this way is instantly killed. This ability may not be triggered until after the next long rest. So if you roll a 1 on a death saving throw, before you then may die from it or anything, you might actually just instantly pop back up and absorb health. It also might instantly kill someone.
Jesus Christ. We've been so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
This curse is actually pretty decent, but it's a bit risky.
A bit risky?
You can't take it off. Doesn't matter. There for life. Or death.
Jesus Christ, the part where I can, if I wear dead allies, it gives me 7 charges.
Yep.
Dead allies. Ugh.
Yep. That's not even a curse. That's just a hidden
Like,
ability.
specifically, if the curse kills someone, I can put their bones on it, and I get 7 charges instead of the normal max of 3.
Yep.
Gross, but it worked. I mean,
If the curse kills them, you wear
Need
the
more
bones.
allies that we don't mind losing, okay? That's what.
that we don't mind losing. That's super evil right there.
Yeah,
I
the threshold for fallen ally there is set by the GM, and the threshold really is like someone you're really attached to as an NPC or a PC. It's
Yeah, I would assume so.
Sorry, Pietro.
Can't be like, I'm gonna make a friend
We
with
need
you,
your
and then I'm
bones.
gonna murder you.
Yeah. 66 is a high damage, but also it's also the same amount you heal. And it does require them to fail a DC 15 con save. So, but it also means that you would heal that, which means you'd come back instantly from any death saves. You'd instantly be up.
I like Perrin's what's it called? Not enlightenment? No. And when he basically is like, I just want justice, not revenge. His epiphany.
Oh, that
Epiphany
whole
that he
speech
had.
was so good.
I know, I was getting the feels. I was
Chef's
like,
kiss.
oh, he's learning. And then she was like, remember that innocent guy you killed? By the way, we're judging you for
Yeah.
that just before you commit to this.
I had to be like, cool. Remember, you're joining Judgment, which means that that's fine. We really appreciate that. Great. But also, we're going to apply that to you as well. Like, you don't get off scot-free because you join Team Good.
Yep. Perrin accepts that.
I
He's
wonder.
like, I'm fighting for this, and if my fighting for that before means I'm doomed, I guess I'm doomed.
I wonder what your parents would have to say. Aren't they part of the rebellion still?
The rebellion's
Yeah.
crashed. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're the last embers.
They went home, probably got killed by mushroom people or something.
No, totally. If you went to visit them, and then we ever had a section where, like, we could have done with a segue because someone was missing and you wanted to go visit them. We had a segue because people were missing, but you never wanted to go visit them really at the right time. Then I was going to do a segue where you went to the village and your parents were like, we're infested with mushroom zombies. You told us it was safe. So, you know, I'm just saying, canon from here on, parents' parents could be dead because he sent them to the safe village and it was infested with
we
mushroom
got it
zombies.
handled. It was descending into other realms, and then we snapped it back out. It should have just been gone. But I don't know why there's still mushroom.
And then
people
what
there.
happened? You left mushroom zombies there.
Not me. Y'all made so many bad things before. You made like a fish god. You made mushroom zombies. Like,
That's true.
you got
Well,
this
the craziest part is
survivor
all
wandering
all
around.
the crazy stuff we did was in like the like 4 weeks before Skith arrived. It was all
That's
like
also true.
Yeah.
right
You
before.
let some demon free the librarian. Like,
Yeah.
made a deal.
Yeah.
So in Mast, if there was more time, you were going to get asked to get rid of a terror that had been attacking shipping in the area, and that was the fish god that you'd summoned. But you would
We
have
didn't.
then...
I want to clarify for people who are just tuning into this. We didn't purposely create the fish god.
Yeah,
we
we were.
It was just
we were
a
actively
byproduct of their
fighting,
actions.
Like the summoning was occurring as we were killing the
It wasn't
things that were
summoning.
summoning.
It was a spawning. They were spawning gods because that's what the Code 2 would do. But it spawned and it saw Corvidbot and it took Corvidbot's like imitation of Corvidbot's form, as it was like, that's a powerful thing. I want to imitate that.
But I'm a
So it was
fish.
inspired.
and we didn't manage to
Yeah.
kill enough fish people before the ritual was done.
Yeah.
We were,
So,
kind of wiping the floor with us towards the end, if I remember rightly. It was looking a bit rough.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, we were
pretty
kind of
rough.
getting womped
But
pretty
they
hard.
got what they wanted, so they left. They got their god. It got to the right power level.
And then Sir Gallant and crew came and like acted like they cleaned up everything.
Yeah.
They got all the cred.
I mean, in fairness, he probably did scare some of them off, but yeah.
I remember you guys healing them.
Yeah, we were healing.
healing
We were healing all the people up. I mean, they were also helping heal people up too. It wasn't like.
So at Mast, if you'd then done that, you may have discovered that there was a huge section next to the city, which was just empty terrain, which was just a huge illusion where they were building a crap ton of ships because they were, as Saravel mentioned, building a huge fleet. Not that it has a huge plot impact, but...
I was thinking, I don't remember explicitly seeing them building more ships, but Saravel seems to think I saw it.
Yeah. I like the armor.
I don't like it anymore.
My version of interesting
like
curse. I hate boring curses that are just like, it's really bad. It has an upside. It will save you from death a lot.
Yeah, but at what cost?
That's a good line. And I'm glad that this armor makes that line happen.
No. Gotta get this armor off.
I like my armor too.
Your armor is very good. But your armor's meant to be very good.
I did tell EE, well, because behind the scenes, EE and I had discussed like what would my grandmother be, what type of artificer would she have been, and what. And I actually told him like you could decide whatever you want for her because I don't mind. I think it's fun for me to also find out more about my grandmother too.
So of course I went against type and was like, a gnome. What would a gnome normally be? Oh, a gnome would normally be probably the sort of similar artificer maybe. So what if instead she was one who punched people?
Barb artificer.
Barbarian gnome.
I gave him like so many characters because I gave him my whole family tree almost. And I was like, I love the idea of having like somebody in your family who's left you an heirloom, but you don't know everything about them. And the added element that you had with my grandfather was also really cool. And I think having a character who dies that everyone's really close to is also very interesting. So that was a feels train that we went down. I teared up again during this episode too. That was so like the scene with the ravens was like really, really cool. Behind the scenes, I was like, I love that scene so much. And the way that you handled the blessing on Skith was really cool.
Skith a death ward, out of interest.
Oh, it was a death ward. Oh, nice.
It was cast at a high level in case someone tried to dispel it, but it was just death ward. But...
Why did I have to roll a d20?
Oh, yeah. That was a wisdom save.
Oh, I failed it.
Yeah, you got 4.
What was it?
Saravel cast a spell to have a little rifle through your memories.
Motherfucker.
What was the memory that he got?
Well, he knows Mash is dead.
Yeah.
If he didn't before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it was for Masha, or was it? Or is it something you don't want to tell us?
Just in case it is plot relevant if we do another thing. But just a little flick through.
Okay.
Yeah,
just a little
Grandma was leveled in Artificer. Grandma was straight level 20 armor Artificer. There you go.
Yeah.
Did Harker's attack do anything to the Empire? Not hugely. It made them a bit weaker because they had to redeploy forces to Near-Earth that they would have otherwise deployed against the Decay and Macan League. So, but also it basically caused rebellion to happen and then destroyed the rebellion because it wasn't ready. So the rebellion got utterly crushed. So if anything, it helped them out a little bit. So yeah, Harker. Also, it made the rebellion synonymous with like most of the population with husk zombies on innocent people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like if you'd have stopped that early, the rebellion wouldn't be associated with that. If you had like made it happen really well, then yeah, really bad stuff would have happened, but maybe it would have really pushed them out of Near-Earth or something. In the end, it kind of stopped at the halfway point, which ended up with the worst of both worlds.
The thing I think that I regret the most about that is Bentham, not Perrin. Perrin's got his own whole feelings about that. But the thing that Bentham regrets the most is Misty stepping onto and off the boat, because I think that made the difference in the following fight against the zombies and is why they got out.
Yeah, that's true. Because that zombie thing, when I spec'd it, I never spec'd both fights to be done fully, and so I never really spec'd for reduced mobility and less Misty stepping.
Yep.
So that probably factored in.
I just didn't have the spell power to hold on in the zombie fight.
Mm.
Yeah, the big ball of zombies was not good. That was messed up.
I'm glad that was messed up. It was a good messed up.
If I hadn't Misty stepped onto and off the boat, I might have been able to nip the zombies in the bud right there.
Mm.
We've just gone as a group and swam together, and that could have been fireballing everybody.
Well, I was thinking time was of the essence, like swimming, and I like if I feel like it'd look weird if the rebels are just like, on their boat getting prepared, and they just hear like 4 splashes, and there's just some people swimming to their boat. That'll be weird. I thought someone should like step on there, but yeah, I should have saved those.
It's fine. It let us put all of the weight of the decision on you and then blame you for it for months.
But you also got Masha a really good recruit, because that's how they get a lot of their recruits. They get people who have been pushed off the edge, who have nowhere else to turn, and then they take them in, they give them a new thing against, like, well, actually, we're against them and their higher power or whatever, and yeah. She got a number of the people who support him as well.
Yeah, now you know why Perrin kept that vertebrae. It wasn't for weird
Creepy
dark
stuff.
magics. It was because he had
Look,
this
you were
kind
going down a weird path, so that's why we were like, what is he up to? Because you're being a little creepo.
Yeah, basically Perrin, it was like Perrin, once he worked out what had driven Masha to that point. He was trying to take her alive in the fight so that he could try and maybe get through to her. And then when that didn't work, it's like, maybe if I stab what's possessing her with the sword, it and her soul will end up in the sword, and then that's, something. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe if I keep a vertebrae, at some point we can use it to resurrect her and have another chance. But Perrin's like, okay, I understand Tharizdun now, I understand how this works, and any kind of magic that goes on with him, it's about oblivion, it's about destruction. In all likelihood, she destroyed her soul specifically in order to bring him into her body and all that. Maybe he's wrong, but he's giving up on that hope and focusing on, fixing what he can.
So have you gathered what the first war was about yet? And the whole betrayal thing?
So it seems like there's a cycle of creation and destruction that's meant to exist in the universe, that's maybe agreed upon by the gods or by a certain number of the gods. And the universe was due a destruction cycle, but then Dorn was like, hey, I don't want to do that. This world's kind of cool. Let's keep it. And then led a bunch of gods to backstab and lock away the destruction gods.
Close. Put more emphasis on the gods who we have a chain of changing hands and dying.
Do you mean Dorn, Arroway, and Nerul?
I guess, yeah, that's not...
Yeah, I don't know what you meant.
In the beginning, you lived. Then you died.
Right.
Okay.
And originally death was absolute. And then someone
so
was
there
like,
wasn't
what
like
if there's more after?
Bingo.
So your
Tharizdun
souls
was the
never
original...
went somewhere else.
Exactly. Tharizdun was the original death, but death in terms of end, finale, ultimate oblivion, that's it.
Oh, that's why he's like the destruction.
And then the rest of them were like, but what if you don't die? And then Tharizdun was like, whoa. Dude. No?
It's more the cycle of life and death. is what was broken.
Hero Sheep has a question for us in chat saying, what were some of the non-meta important fates of some of the guest characters, if you don't mind sharing? Like, where do you see like the epilogue for those people? Obviously, the ones that aren't pertinent to the story, meta-wise.
That would entirely depend, like, where the guests would have a chance to come back and like what would be useful. For instance, I totally would have been like, so you want to come out with some demonic boons and like be on this weird, like, I don't work for a demon, I don't like a demon, but also some of the demon's enemies are worse than the demons, so I help out against those guys specifically, but only them.
Interesting. I thought you would have had him come back because basically when he left us, like the last things he said to us were really like, use your power for good. If you don't, I will come back and I will like murder your faces. Is basically what he said. He was like, I'll break
but
your
he
bones.
also did just kill a child.
That's true.
So, but it'd have been a discussion about like what could have worked and where the character could have gone, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not the character, and it would have been interesting. Like, he went away and he went for a while with a demon figuring out a thing. So
Yeah, that's something that's really cool that you guys maybe didn't know behind the scenes when EU's making these characters or like working with people. They really they made the characters, and like EE just was like, here's kind of what I need you to be the conduit of, or like, you know, help move the story along. But they got to be themselves in their own character, which is really cool.
Or something it's like, what do you want to be? Cool, I've got a thing for that.
Yeah. I feel like it always ended up, you were like, they perfectly matched what I was looking for, and it just like kind of always just worked out.
So you want to know what the vague concepts for the exalted items were?
Hell yeah.
Go on. I never did look in the key. Didn't get around to that.
Oh yeah, the key. Because my next thing I had on my list were
end of today, Arena looks in the key. There's nothing in there.
Okay.
Oh, there wasn't anything in the
There's
box.
nothing in there, no. Yeah.
And then the other thing that she wanted to do was like transfer that power over to like the entropic soul thing. Would that have been successful? Pending the
That would have been a roll.
rolls?
That'd have been a roll.
Okay.
But you could have ended up with a slightly sentient thing you could have plugged into Corbot.
Sick.
Would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting.
The Ravenforge Mantle would have gone up to +3 for AC. When you use your aerial acrobatics to dodge air effects, you could have dodged 20 foot instead of 10, which means you could have dodged completely out of like a fireball. And once per long rest as a bonus action, you gain a fly speed of 30 foot for 10 minutes. So you just gain a fly speed for 10 minutes.
Oh, that would be helpful.
It's not quite as fast as like fly, but also no concentration, etc. And you can trigger it as a bonus action.
No spell slot, no concentration.
Yeah.
That's super handy.
But also, because it's a bonus action, it doesn't take up your action at the beginning of combat. You're just like, bam, go.
Yeah.
I guess. What's the next one?
Perrin's hammer.
I've got
Is that
Midnight
also a
Shroud up.
vestige?
Midnight Shroud.
Oh yeah, the cloak.
It gains. This is like very much rough question marks, but divination, crown of stars, and you have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects, and spell attacks have disadvantage against you.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Crown of Stars is a decent spell. It does take 7 charges though.
And then what about the hammer?
There's also a spoiler. There's also a curse on the cloak.
On the cloak?
which you knew about from the damage, but
Oh yeah, the
if that
fracture.
damage ever brought you to 0 HP, you had to make an intelligence saving throw with a DC of 18 minus remaining charges. If you fail, you die. Although you brush close to something fast as you die. If you fail by 5 or more, you immediately die and are transformed into an Alep. If you pass, you're immediately stabilized and you learn something long hidden. All of these were more relevant when you didn't know about Mystra. Basically,
what would they transform into?
An Alep. It's basically a kind of undead, ghosty type thing that basically happens when you learn a really powerful secret that basically destroys your ability to think or be a thing, and you just become obsessed by it, and then so
Cool.
Yeah, this is more relevant when you didn't know about Mystra, so that if it had brought you to 0 HP and you passed the check, you'd have basically learned Mystra's alive.
I mean, I almost died being sucked into a blood hole to figure out it was Mystra anyway.
You'd have to die from the damage from the cloak, though, would be the...
Yeah.
And then Perrin's hammer. +3 to attack and damage rolls. Spell casting goes up to +9, DC 17 from the spells that are cast from it. When you cast Ensnaring Strike, only gargantuan creatures have advantage. When you have fewer hit points than half your maximum hit point, it deals an extra 2d6 bludgeoning damage.
That's nice.
So that is the good, that's the big change.
Live life on the edge, always at 45% HP.
When you start your turn with 10 or less hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to twice your proficiency bonus. Now that one took me ages to figure out, but it's great because A, it means that 2d6 that you get at half health is slightly better because it stretches that low health band, and the ability that you have when you go down to 0 HP but are still up gives you temporary HP so that you don't instantly die when you take damage at 0 HP. Also, once every 7 days, you can use Earthquake.
I think that all the spells you can cast with the hammer begin with E.
You could also cast Bones of the Earth once every long rest.
Oh, okay.
We could maybe file that under Earth, Bones of.
BOE.
So we have 2 more questions from chat. One is, how is it that none of the gods noticed the steel behemoths creating humans, and how have they not found out their origins, etc. since? We'll answer that one first, and then I'll ask the next one.
So the gods can't see the steel behemoths directly. They have powerful divination blockers on them. So, for instance, like if Thariston was to get more powerful and like partially manifest in the plane, you'd have either thought up or someone was going to point you towards, hey, maybe go grab the divination blocker so Thariston doesn't know where to find you.
Oh, interesting.
So they basically can't be seen by the divination spells, and that means that you can't see them from the other sides of the planes because you have to use divination spells. You can't directly see.
Like the amulet thing.
Yeah, it's just really, really powerful version of that.
Yeah, because we already knew that some stuff wasn't identifiable because of that weird divination thing.
That's different. That's a spell that stops you from using identify magic. This is just a spell that stops you from perceiving in an area with divination. There are spells that do that, but there's also amulets that make it impossible to scry on someone and stuff. This is like an uber version of the amulet, but with an area.
And then we have the question that is, would you be able to go would the Corvobot be able to go into the tower with the soul core? So if it did have its own,
it would need to have its own full soul. This wouldn't have been enough of a full soul, and it's also not a soul in the normal way. It's more like a kind of celestial entity type bit. It's a fraction of a celestial being, effectively. Like the steel behemoths were kind of made from a kind of newfangled, what would have been kind of an angel, I guess, but in machine form.
So like the sword that Perrin had and stuff like that, how that was able to still go in towers.
Bit different. That was because the entity was connected to it from somewhere else. This is just because it's a fraction of a being.
And then the next one was from what was the next level for the sword prison?
Oh god, that had loads of levels. I don't have that directly to hand.
Didn't that have like 5 levels?
Yeah, that had 5 levels. Let me check.
I'm
God
just
knows where
relaying
I
what
got to. I have to
the
remember
community
what
wants to hear.
I'd have to remember what it did before. It's been so long. I don't remember what it did.
I actually no. I don't have
long.
notes on it. It just ends at where it was. I don't have the notes for where it went further than that because I think we had to pretty up for Patreon. Yeah. I can tell you that the Chronothurge staff had loads of fancy Chronothurge stuff like Temporal Shunt, which is a reaction spell, which is horrific. It's like counterspell, but you can do it to melee attacks and it basically makes someone skip around.
That's cool.
Oh.
You would have loved that. That would have been fun.
It's really annoying. It's a horrible spell. Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone. You've been great. It's a shame. I missed you all.
We'll either get a big wrap up at some point, or I will grill E for everything. And
He will
I'm sure
literally
he'll
try
have
and
secrets.
find a grill large enough to put me on.
I will put him on a grill if he doesn't write me up a lore thing.
You'll have to find me. Anyway, we do have to go, so bye!
Bye, everybody. We love you.
Brother, get the grill. The heavy grill.